Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Beer Reviews. Don't forget to hydrate before you dehydrate. Guess what? It did not break. Let's try that again. There we go. That's more like it. That's what we want. I guess I'm just not the breaker that I used to be. Let me readjust a tad bit here. That's a little better. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. And I have a special guest coming on to the show. He is Bryan. He is from Driving Slow Motion, a wonderful band. And I'm going to go ahead and send that invite at this point. Oh, and actually, I have to disconnect my microphone so I can hear. Hey, what's
Hey,
up?
dude.
What's going on?
Not much. Nice, shattering glass move. That was
Yeah,
cool.
thank you. Yeah, it's become a staple of the show.
Yeah.
I realized not too long ago I needed an intro, like something to really bring it in. So
Yeah.
it made sense.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for. I watch your beer reviews. So when you asked if we wanted to do one, I was like, man, how could I say no? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. What I like to hear. Well, do you mind maybe just doing a little intro of yourself? Let everybody know who we've got on the show here.
Yeah. Yeah. So my name's Bryan Frameth. I'm a guitarist in Driving Slow Motion. Um, I will admit I've already had a beer before this, so I broke the code. I don't know, but I'm in San
Yeah,
Antonio.
I've got a glass of wine, so you should be all right.
Oh, excellent. Um, yeah, I'm down in San Antonio, Texas. Been all over the place. Like we had a show in Fort Worth on Friday, then we played Austin, then I drove home, and then I drove back to San Antonio for a geology conference. So yeah, I'm ready.
That's awesome. Yeah. The so you're a geologist. That's kind of the day job, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
But more than a day job, it's a real passion.
it is, yeah. It's something that, I'm here with like earlier I had to do the meet and greet thing. It's like everyone here is like 80. like
Oh yeah.
like they've been doing this for like 50 years and they're like we just couldn't do anything else. So, uh, yeah, I like rocks, I like rocking out.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Rock for life.
Rock for life.
Rock for
Yeah.
life, baby. All right. Well, sweet. I'm ready to crack one open. I don't know about you.
All right. So I had to get drafts because the bar downstairs didn't have cans. So
Did you do? Oh, you just got like you literally got pints. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome, dude. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
yeah.
Wish I could do that. I'm gonna have to do these at a bar. Start getting drafts. Draft is always the way to go.
I know. Yeah, it is.
A bottle of stout. That's hard to beat no matter what.
Man.
Bottle draft. So yeah, I will be reviewing the Funky Buddha. This is actually it's a seasonal thing. You can only get these Funky Buddha stouts for like 3 months a year. So pretty
Okay.
legit. Yeah, this is barrel aged with natural vanilla flavor. And I took some notes because this is a truly special ale here, stout. We've got a for anybody who is interested in this kind of thing. We've got an IBU of 40, so not that bitter. Basically, is what that means. It is a bourbon barrel oak aged stout, so oak barrels with roasted malt, and then they threw some vanilla in there. The this is what's so special though. The barrels that they use are High West barrels, and
They're what barrels?
they're High West barrels. That's
Okay.
a whiskey brand. It is
Mm.
super good whiskey. Yeah. It's something like 55 or so a bottle, so it's definitely at a different par than going and grabbing a
So,
bottle of whiskey.
so what's the ABV on that then? I imagine
Oh,
it's
yeah, it is 11%.
awesome.
Yeah. So
So I'll have two beers that are going to equal one of yours. So that'll be awesome.
right, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's pretty sweet is it has a shelf life of 2 years, which means if you are a fanatic when it comes to beer like me, um, you can age this for 2 years, which I'm definitely going to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've got 6 stouts in the aging closet right now. Yeah.
One time I thought I'd age, like this was back when I was like 21, right? I was like, oh, I'm gonna age Shiner Bock. Like, who does that? No one would ever do that. It was terrible. Like, there was stuff growing that should not have been around in the world.
Yeah. It can get pretty specific what you can age, and like there some one of the stouts I have, you can age it, you could give it to your grandkid for their 21st birthday. It
Oh, man.
doesn't matter. And then like this one is only 2 years. There's another stout I have that's 3 years. So if you're gonna age, you do want to make sure it is able to do that.
Yeah. What brewery is that, and where's it from?
This is Funky Buddha, and they are I forget what city, but it's a Florida company.
Okay,
Yeah, um, down in the south.
nice.
So yeah, there's a few great great breweries in South Florida. So if you ever see a South Florida beer, you're probably not going to go wrong.
Just get it.
Yeah, yeah, just get it, just
Get
get
it.
it, and you will enjoy it.
Cool.
I'm going to show this off. This is very nice and dark.
Oh,
It's
you
got
can't. That's I love when that.
what's up?
But there's not a lot of head on it.
Yeah, I'm not a good pourer. I'm still working
Uh,
on my. This is a user error, not the beer itself.
just shake it around so it
Yeah,
looks like you.
let's see if we get it. That's okay. That's okay. It'll still taste good. It'll just be really carbonated.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
just always put the nozzle too close, so it doesn't get enough momentum to really get going.
You know, there's some beers that people just straight up like. Is there a certain style you're supposed to do that for?
Oh, where you just turn that baby over?
Yeah. Yeah. You just.
Um, I don't think so.
I
Not
don't
to
either.
my knowledge. I would call that a user error as well.
That's just like
I've
purposeful ignorance.
experimented with a few different beers, and it's like that much beer and then that much foam, and then like only half of the foam turns back into beer.
Yeah. They're probably like trying to walk the streets pretending it's like a root beer float or
Yeah,
something.
it's not a bad beer.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
Guinness float.
Absolutely. So am I supposed to describe mine now, or are you gonna
Yeah,
like taste your?
what do you got? What do you got going there?
So I'll go with my first one, and you can tell this is a hazy IPA because it's cloudy as hell.
Let's hear
Um,
it.
but it's from Pint House in Austin, Texas. So it's a pizza place, but they also have a brewery attached. Um, and last night I went down to the hotel bar, and this was the only good beer they had. So I was like, okay, I'll get that. Um, but I don't know anything about it, so that's what I feel bad that I didn't look up the what'd you call that? Is it the IBUs or something?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I did not start doing that, but the more this show has progressed, the more legit I try to make it.
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just a good beer. So yeah, I'm gonna dive in here. Cheers.
Cheers. So mine smells terrible.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's terrible, but it's so good. Um,
This is very thick, very viscous.
yeah, good word. I like
It's
that
one of
word.
my favorite words for stouts.
Yeah, I'm usually talking about lava flows when I use that word, but beer works too.
It's pretty interesting.
This one's a little hoppy for like a hazy. Because when I think of like the New England styles, they're not near as hoppy, and I'm not well versed on like which hops are which, you know. But
Yeah, that's
this
not
one's
something I delve too much into either.
yeah, and apparently that's like a whole nother ball game, right? But this is more of a mix of like West Coast IPA and hazy, like in taste at least.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, those New Englands, they are typically more well, they're like rounded off.
yeah. And the citrus like dives off pretty quick in this, um, which
I like
normally, like,
that.
yeah,
I've
yeah,
had a lot of IPAs that tasted like orange candy, like an orange flavored lozenge, and that is not.
no,
It is just too much flavor.
absolutely.
Yeah, this is super good. I kind of wish I was drinking this for the first time. I try to do that. I try to have beers for the first time on the show, but I've had like four of these recently.
Today, no, I'm just kidding.
So good. I had four before I started tonight.
That's awesome.
I'm lit, man.
Do you like so when you drink stouts? How's the headache the next day for you? Because it's like I feel horrible if I drink like more than three stouts.
Oh,
I'm miserable.
yeah. I definitely went through a phase where I was when I started drinking stouts because I went from basically lagers to like wheats to
Yeah,
IPAs to stouts, and so basically anything but a stout. You can have three, you can have four if it's lower ABV, whatever. Um, and it's not that bad. But yeah, stouts, you can't. You definitely. I can't do more than two because they're heavy duty, and for sure, if I do more than two stouts in a night, tomorrow is not my best day.
no, yeah, it's like I need to take a day off.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the kind of situation where you wake up like 30 minutes before you're supposed to, before the alarm goes off, straight to the kitchen, pop a couple ibuprofen, back to bed,
yep,
back in
like
bed for a little
glass of water and bring one with you, kind of thing.
while.
Yeah, but I think that so I have that geology podcast as well,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
we're gonna
wanted to maybe bring that up at some point.
yeah in one of our episodes we're going to have um we're gonna do like geology and beer, and while that can relate to the formations, it's more about the water, and so I'm like there. So I brought up Shiner earlier, right? Like if I have a Shiner, I I am going to want to just lay in bed the next day. Just one Shiner, and I think it really has to do with the water down here. It feels dirty. I don't know how to explain. Like I feel like I've done something really bad after I've drank a Shiner. But but your water in Florida would be. I mean, you have a lot of like younger limestones and stuff. I imagine it's pretty good.
I don't know. That's
You're like,
a little beyond me.
yeah,
I haven't really had a lot of Shiner.
it's okay. You don't have to
I've
worry about.
seen it. I definitely had it, but it's not been something I'll grab one of those.
No. Before craft breweries really kicked off in Texas, um, that like I can just speak from like my friends and like probably a lot of the band guys. We used to drink Shiner a lot, and it's because that was like the only good thing other than like Coors and like stuff like that. And so But now I'm like there are craft breweries everywhere, just like any other state now. But
Um, about the water sources in Florida, though, I do know because I'm starting to learn a lot more from doing landscaping and taking some certification courses that go into stuff like that, the ecosystem of it all.
yeah,
And this was something I was learning actually last night. Is we do have a lot of good natural sources, but they're depleting at the moment. Unfortunately,
yeah.
that's all I can really say about that.
Well, and I promise we'll talk more about beer, but like you have a lot of karst, which is like the limestone dissolves away, right? And so then it'll like the groundwater will just go deeper, so you no longer have it up high or where it's accessible. So yeah,
I love learning about stuff like that.
yeah,
I actually have enjoyed listening to the podcast because um, I like learning about the earth, the science of different plants, ecosystems, stuff like that is pretty interesting to me. I've
absolutely.
never delved too deep into anything in particular, but I really enjoy learning more about that. So the podcast has been pretty fun to.
Yeah, we did a Lord of the Rings episode, and I thought I actually thought of you. I was like, oh yeah, he likes Lord of the Rings. Um,
Oh yeah.
it's fun, but that's something like imagine being like in that drinking battle between Gimli and Legolas.
Yeah.
You would be Legolas. I would be. I'd be.
Drinking like a fish. Yeah.
Yep.
I love how silly that game is. I love how it's like it's like you have to drink as many as possible, but there's
Yeah.
no end frame. So all you have to do is just be a little slower.
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
it.
yeah,
Someone didn't think it through. I don't know who it was.
it's pretty funny. I was
This is getting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say because I thought of you. I saw this today on my YouTube feed. It was a video showing how I don't know how to say his last name, but Vigo.
Yeah.
In that scene in the Fellowship where they're battling the orcs at the end of the movie in the woods on the riverbank,
Yeah.
where I forget his name, but the head orc of that little posse, where he throws the dagger at Aragorn. He apparently, like, I don't know what you would say, over or under. He over or underestimated his aim.
Oh
He was
no.
supposed to throw it like over there, and the camera angle was supposed to make it look like it was going straight at Vigo's head or chest or whatever. But he actually threw it straight at him, and Vigo actually deflected it with his sword.
No way.
That was real.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that wasn't a stunt. That actually happened, and he actually just deflected that baby, just spot on.
He's such a badass actor. Like, he's one of those that's like he's not even being pompous to do all his own stunts. He just
You just can.
yeah, he can. He's the king. Yeah,
I thought that was so crazy.
absolutely. So my beers become very, very bitter now. So it's like at first it tasted like a New England style, and now I just taste West Coast.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're bringing on the hops as you go down. Maybe it's warming up, and it's
Yeah. Could be.
yeah.
Yeah. That would make sense actually. That bitterness just starts to shine through.
Does that have much bitterness to it?
No.
Sweet.
So IBU rating, uh, it's International Bitterness Unit Scale. They don't throw the S in there, or usually it's not capitalized.
Yeah.
But it goes from 0 to 100. So like a bitter stout would be 60, and then like a bitter hoppy beer is gonna be probably 70s and on.
Okay.
I had it was an IPA recently that was 100. It was all the way. They cranked it all the way up, and I don't mind that. I don't mind the bitterness. It's kind of a one and done. Like you wouldn't drink a six pack of that
Yeah.
if you
No way.
enjoy this beer. But yeah, very very bitter. So what you got probably is, I would say, just based off the look and sound, I would say you're probably rocking 70, 75.
Okay. It must be because um, what was it? The Stone Arrogant Bastard. Do you remember that ale? That when I first tried that, I was like, dude, this tastes like beeswax. Like this is like most ridiculous bitterness. I was like, what
Yeah,
the?
it's pretty bitter. I That was one of the first stouts that I ever had, and it was weird. I, Either the first or second time I tried it, I really liked it, and then the other time I just couldn't do it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
I haven't
No.
tried it in probably 5 years. That might be an interesting one to revisit. See what I think now, because it's one of those stouts like it's it's just a stout.
Yeah. That would be a
Barrel
cool.
aged special.
Like, what if we grabbed? Like, if you ever want us back on, like, we grabbed a beer from like our younger days of drinking beer that we thought was either disgusting or we loved, and we try it now.
Yeah, that sounds like a good show. I like
Because
that.
like this one, so this is the Yingling lager. It's not the amber, but
I enjoy
everyone's
it.
flipping out about it over here in Texas because it's available now.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
was it not?
I yeah, it hadn't been available, I guess. But like I remember just because it wasn't available, it tasted better. And now I'm like, this is not very good. Like this is not that great of a beer. I think they're from Pennsylvania. Um,
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Here in America,
no,
America's first brewery.
that's crazy.
It tastes like simpler times.
Yeah.
I like
What's your,
England. I don't mind those at all.
I mean, they're all right. It's just not like at least this one. The amber is really good, but this one's just like a much better Lone Star. Do you know what Lone Star is?
No, what's that?
Okay, it's this just crap Texas beer that's like your Budweiser, honestly. Yeah.
Budweiser is. I have an interesting relationship with Budweiser because I do like them, but something about, because it's half rice beer and half um, malt or whatever, grains, and I don't mind the taste of it. I think it's okay. I like that it's 5%, whereas for pretty much the same price you get like Bud Light, which is 4.2.
Yeah.
Uh, so I like that part about it, but I get headaches from that beer. I'll drink two. My body
Yeah.
doesn't like it.
Do you ever get like the when I drink beers like that, I get like a soap taste in my mouth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I kind of do now that you mention it.
It's like it now I've ruined it for you because you'll taste it every time.
I don't
Like
do
so like cilantro tastes like soap now for me
Oh
because
yeah.
someone yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that effect, which is great because I enjoy street tacos very much. But
Yeah. I have to pull it all off. I just can't, man.
that's so sad. And then like sous vide, super good. Have you had sous vide?
Uh no.
It's
I think I thought you were about to say ceviche, but that's a different thing.
Or yeah, yeah. Sous vide is a steak thing. Ceviche is what I mean. Yeah, ceviche.
Okay.
Really
Yeah.
enjoy that. Um, yeah, yeah. I like cilantro a lot. I don't have that. My mom has that effect where it tastes like so. Thankfully, whatever that is. But yeah, the Budweiser, I agree. It has some kind of this doesn't belong here taste about it.
Yeah, it should not go in your body.
Yeah, which it doesn't make sense because it's well, I don't know. I've not looked into exactly their process, but it should just be alcohol made from rice and some alcohol made from grains, but just something about it. Maybe it's the combo. I don't know. But yeah, it does have a taste that is it. I wouldn't pay much more for it.
Right.
Yeah, weird.
But some people that's their favorite beer. I don't know. I mean, and I can't not like I never want to be the guy that's like, "Oh, you like that? You suck." Like, you know. But
Yeah, I'm not like that either. I drink Pabst Blue Ribbon all the time. I drink Budweiser every once in a while. Um, yeah, I drink it all. I drink nice stouts and I drink wines, cheap wines, expensive wines. I just like to experience the different profiles and tastes of things and just the different styles. So
yeah,
as long as it's good, I think it's good.
yeah. What was your what was your the beer that like really opened your eyes? Like I remember the moment I had one, and I'm curious what that experience was like.
So when I started just drinking beers, it was pretty much Yingling and Corona. The beer that taught me there's a big wide world out there was probably Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I really like wheat, and that is a great wheat beer that they figured it out. They figured out how to make a great wheat beer that you can make 100,000 bottles a day of. So that really I think is a legitimately good beer. So that
Yeah.
was kind of the start of me realizing there's a bigger world out there. But what really did it for me was this this brewery called Third Planet that is the next town over from me, and they were the fastest growing microbrewery in the country in 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
They make such good beers and pretty much all styles. And I started going there when I found out about them in 2017, and that just blew me away. Pretty
Yeah.
much since that point, since 2017, anytime I've been able to go for like a higher tier beer, I've done.
Yeah. That's awesome, and I like that you like I think that's important is like giving a shout out to like your favorite breweries, right? Um like I always do that. Like if people are visiting somewhere, I'm like, all right, you gotta go here, here, and here. Like,
Yeah, I love doing that when people come here.
yeah. Actually, it's really funny. I have to go in the field next week, and we have geologic maps, but we have breweries marked on them, so that like we're like, all right, we're like in this fold belt, we have to hit up this brewery kind of thing, and like we kind of make it a game, I guess. So
It's pretty sweet.
yeah. So my beer that like I remember really well because I like said something really stupid, but um, it was Anchor Porter. So the brewery's Anchor, and I think they're definitely from California, but they may be from San Francisco. I'm not sure. But I remember drinking it and like my eyes like got huge. Apparently, my friend he was like, and I just stared from it. And I was like, I love this, and I don't want it to go away ever. And like he like will tell me that phrase all the time. But that was the one beer that I was like, there, like you said, there's another world out there. um, you don't have to drink stuff you don't really like,
Yeah.
and you don't have to do that anyway. But you know what I mean. Um,
Or like you don't have to drink 6 beers. You can drink 2 beers. You can
right.
do really good ones, and you only need and want to.
Yeah. And they have so many calories that you don't even have to eat dinner.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Don't do.
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know about you, but I actually struggle to keep weight on. So there was a time, I don't remember exactly, but it's been like a couple years ago. I kind of did get in the habit of just like eating this much dinner and drinking a few beers like, pretty much every night.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know, that's what was going on at that point, I guess. And I lost like 5, 10 pounds from doing that, which for me is that's quite a bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can get pretty small if I'm not keeping an eye on things.
I mean, that's really interesting because people normally associate, drinking the kind of beers that you and I like to drink as getting very fat, and like just bloated all the time. And I can be like that. Like this past month, my workout has gone to nothing, and my beer intake's gone a lot up. Uh, but um, like you still get stuff out of beer. Like
It has nutrients in it.
people used to only drink beer for sustenance. And I was listening to NPR the other day, and there was like one of the oldest breweries. Like it wasn't a monastery. Is it called a nunnery? Is that a thing? A nunnery? I don't know. Okay. Well, it's one of those, and it's this old nun. And she has been making this beer for like 50 years, and she's about to retire. Like she's like 80 something, I think. Um, but it's at this monastery nunnery thing, and she was like, "We don't eat lunch. We just drink 2 beers." And she said, "I don't get fat from that. I get fat from eating chocolate and from eating like bratwurst, right? Because she's in Germany in the Alps, and so she was like they were like, but like everyone knows that carbs like that will, give you a gut." And she's like, was like showing her like body, I guess, to the reporter guy. She's like, "Nope, I'm good." She's like this 80-year-old lady. Yeah, and and she did give a pointer. She was like, he goes, like, so would you ever make like a hazy IPA? Or she just like scoffed and like left the interview because she was like, I don't do that. We make good, just normal beer in Germany. Yeah, my friend James that just came on, he bought Lederhosen, and it's like legit. And went to Oktoberfest. And hi, James. Hello. But yeah. Oh, I took a sip of the Yingling without describing its color. I don't know if I.
It's fine. You can do that. I'm gonna open this new beer. Um, to me, anyways. I don't know if the beer itself is new. Copper Point
Mm,
A10 Red IPA. It's got the A10 plane
yeah.
on there. Pretty badass plane. Yeah, super sick. Uh, this is a 7% IPA, 12 fluid ounces.
You go from 11% to 7%.
Yeah, we got a taper.
Yeah.
Taper around here. So yeah, let's hear about that Yingling because this is no gas station Yingling. This is a very special draft Yingling from a
Yeah.
real. Look at that head. That's much.
That is great.
Yeah, yeah, much. Oh, dude, this is gonna be pretty decently bitter. Does that Yingling taste better? Do you think with it being draft or just?
It smells really good. Like this smells like bread that just came out of the oven. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that is a good. That's what I like about Yingling is so when it comes to beer, this is actually something interesting for anybody who may or may not know. If you're just drinking beer from a can, or if you're out at the brewery or the pub, whatever, and you get a beer that does not have like a good head of foam on it, it means that it's not released any carbon. And so if you're out or if you're at home just drinking cans, you're not actually pouring it. Uh, that carbon is in your stomach, right? So I wish I could display this, but I can't. But if you start eating, you start eating some dinner with your beer, or you're out, you get a snack, whatever, get something from the food truck. That food that's going into your stomach actually stirs up that carbon,
Yeah.
and it kind of wells up. So that's where the bloating feeling comes from. So,
That's a really good point, and I had never thought about that, but it makes complete sense.
yep, why that
I
is.
mean, they're just bubbles, which is gas, like this gas phase leaving the liquid. So if you're gonna trap it in your body, of course you're gonna feel like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So the other thing that's important though is by pouring the beer properly, you actually kind of wake up the taste and especially the aroma. So a good, well poured draft beer from the bottle or from the can at home, um, when you do it that way, it smells a lot better and it actually will taste a little more crisp.
Man. So I no longer will I drink from a can at home.
Yeah, once I learned that, I pretty much just pour the beers now.
Okay.
It makes a big difference. Like for Pabst Blue Ribbon, something that's a little on the cheaper end,
Yeah.
you definitely want to do that because and I'm just saying for me, like I'll get a bit of a stomach ache if I just drink a couple tall boys, but if I pour it properly,
I mean, there's truth to it though. Like I believe you. I really do. I'm gonna do an experiment. So tomorrow I'm gonna get a canned beer and I'm gonna ask, yo, I don't need a glass, and then I'm gonna do the next pour.
yep,
Because this could solve a lot of my problems. Like you may be unlocking something for me.
it unlocks something for me. I'll tell you that for sure. So I would say that's a good test to run, and
Yeah,
you'll be pleased with the results.
hope so.
So this beer I actually tried at a beer and wine tasting at the shop I like to go to last Friday, and I just want to read this because this is a super good beer and it's very complex, super hard to nail down. It is dry hopped with mosaic hops. That is I know this at least. That is a American hop, so it's got qualities all its own. Um, and it's got hints of mango, passion fruit,
Hmm.
and well, that's basically it. But hints of mango and passion fruit. But the way it kind of rests on your tongue, just the mouth feel, is it's like sweet, tangy, and something else. Me and the guy who poured the beer at the review for the tasting, we tried it and we're like both not able to nail down. There's this kind of after note once it's gone down the hatch that we both of us were like, I don't know.
I know what you mean. Like there's there's stuff that you just can't describe. Um, like I smoke a tobacco pipe. Like I'm one of those weirdos. Because I'm a hobbit, I guess. But yeah, like sometimes there's a finish on it, like at the bottom of the bowl, and I can't. It's like I want to say it's peppery or salty, like savory would be the right word, but that still doesn't satisfy it. So I know what you mean. It's
What
hard.
word one that makes you feel like you're describing? That's what I like.
Yeah, and I yeah.
Because in the
So
end, I'm of the opinion that Tasting notes is a real thing, but it is subjective. And here's the best objective proof. One thing that's popular in coffee right now that I see occasionally in beer also is the tasting note of stone fruit. And I didn't even know stone fruit existed. I've never even heard of that until I started
Yeah.
looking at coffee tasting notes. And
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've never like I've never come across it to any capacity. So how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to drink this and say, "Oh yeah, I see it. The stone fruit." Like I don't know what it is. So yeah, so tasting notes are definitely real, but it's like if I've had guava and you haven't, and I taste guava, you're not gonna taste guava.
Yeah. And that cracks me up because okay, like a stone fruit can taste completely different from another stone fruit. So like plum, right? Those that would be a I believe that's a stone fruit, and then like a peach is a stone fruit. Those don't taste the same, but they have the same like texture, but they're called a stone fruit because they have that massive like pit in the middle. So
So
like
it's not a unit of fruit. It's not.
it's a style of fruit.
Oh,
It's because of the seed.
wow, learning new things.
Yeah, but like that's you wouldn't say, oh, this tastes like stone fruit. Like I've seen that though on coffee thing, and it's like, what are you talking about? And I crack up like my guitarist, Jason. He's in driving slow motion. He's a coffee roaster, and he's like dang good. Um, but sometimes he's like, yeah, I can taste this and this. I'm like, no, I don't know how you do that. Like, I don't understand. Like, I am not trained. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I worked at a roastery for a couple years. I worked there as long as I could. It was a really enjoyable job. Um, but you know, once you got three kids, you got to do something.
Yeah, dude.
Families are a little bigger.
Yep.
But they would pump out all these great light roast, acidic coffees that really bring out whatever flavors you pick up on. And some of them were the same way. It was I don't know. It was like tasting notes of this, and this, and I thought I've never had that. I don't know what that is. So occasionally it would be that scenario where I was like, I don't know where you're getting this from. And
Yeah.
the more I talked to the roasters, the more I realized like 25% of their job is literally just trying every new food, fruit thing they can
Yeah.
just to develop the palate. So I think that's what the tasting note issue really comes down to is the diversity of stuff you've actually paid attention to.
And if you're a normal American, and I'm gonna use the term beige eater, have you ever heard people say that?
That's new for me. What's that?
Okay. So like the first time I heard that term I was in a zoology class and like my professor pulled up all these like beautiful like really colorful plates of like vegetables and meats and stuff. And then it was like chicken fingers, french fries, like hard tacos. They're all beige. Like they're this so if we eat stuff like that, how are we gonna have like the lingo to describe these drinks, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Yeah, that's one thing that sucks about American culture is that like, about 100 years ago, it seems like we really started figuring out how to just pump food out the
Uh,
butt. And so
yeah,
a lot of regional stuff has kind of been lost. And there's so many flavors, spices, herbs. People don't use it. It's super sad.
I
But
know.
actually, kind of tying into beer reviews, like, that's become a passion of mine over the past 5 years. Is using just all different kinds of herbs and spices and cooking, trying new fruits anytime I see it, trying new dishes, new cuisines, and it's been very eye opening.
Yeah, and it. I do. I think you mentioned something like there's not like there's no more regional food variety, right? It's like I wish that it was illegal to like make the same kind of food. Like people in Minnesota should not be making Mexican food or Tex-Mex food. Like that should stay down here or in the South, and then y'all can make your own stuff. Because when I travel, I would like to. I don't want to see like La Familia or some like Mexican restaurant somewhere. You know what I mean? Um, and it that's me being picky, but I would like to see that culture back. But you see it in beer, like that's the thing is like New England has like called that, you know, this is a New England style, and you got your West Coast styles. I don't know what's a Southern beer style.
Um, lagers are pretty. Lagers aren't very. I wouldn't say they're big down here when it comes to the microbreweries, but most microbreweries have one. And I would say that's like a pretty good. In my opinion, I would say that's like a pretty good Southern beer.
Yeah,
There's some great lagers down here. Some places like Third Planet I mentioned earlier.
yeah.
Who they just make a single batch, tastes good, everybody likes it. We'll just make that again.
Is it Third Planet or Nerd Planet?
It's Third Planet.
Okay, I've heard of Third Planet, and I feel like I've had their beer somewhere. And yeah, I thought you said Nerd
No,
Planet.
that would be
I was
awesome.
like, that's cool.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's
Start
your brew.
Third Planet. That's sweet. So do you recall at all where maybe you had it or saw it?
I if I recall a brewery, it means I liked it or I hated it, but I don't have a bad memory of this. Um, and I feel like it was at like an obscure place. It may have been in Denver actually. So I'm wondering if they distribute it out there.
They
But I've
might.
seen,
Yeah, they started distributing locally at like the very end of 2017, and they grew so much in 2019. I don't know how far-reaching they are. I could probably ask them next time I go in, but that it would not surprise me if I found out they were in Denver. It wouldn't.
yeah, it was. I know I've had it somewhere. Um, but yeah, I want to hit up like it would be nice to go on a vacation where you just hit up brewery after brewery, which is kind of what I do when I go on work trips. I'm like, all right, I have to go through the Rockies. Where are all the good breweries? We have to take this route. Actually, when we shot the videos for this release, the music videos, I was like, well, we could go that way, or we could go around here and stop at Elevation Brewery, which is phenomenal. Um,
Where's
like
that?
it's in Poncha Springs, Colorado. So you're like right in the central volcanic zone of the Rockies, and
Yeah,
you have
I've had one of those.
yeah, you probably have, and it
Yeah, they're really
yeah,
super good.
they're awesome. Like that was that might be up there for getting my number one.
Yeah.
Great Divide is another one of mine that I stop in Denver every time. I guess I'm a Colorado beer fan. I think that's what it comes down. I don't know.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Colorado beers available here where I'm at. It's mostly East Coast stuff, East Coast
Yeah,
beer. But I definitely have seen and very much enjoyed Elevation. I think they sell at the grocery store, at the liquor store. I think they sell like two of their beers. And I've definitely had one. I don't remember. It's been a while, but yeah, I'm pretty young. There's not a
yeah,
lot of stuff that I see around town. I mean, they have it, but it's not a wide variety.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think what else. I haven't had enough. Like to me, if I haven't been to the brewery, I haven't had the full experience. You know, and like play into why I like that so much. Because anytime I go to Colorado, I don't want to come home. Is basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys went there for the videos, and how long were you? Did you freeze up? A little bit frozen. Yeah.
I was tired of getting. I kept getting calls, and I was like saying what I was doing.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, how long were you guys in Colorado
Oh, sorry. What was that?
for? How long were you in Colorado for?
Man, that trip was it was really quick. So we flew up. I guess it was probably a total of 4 days, 3 days. So we just like booked it like immediately from the airport, drove down through across the Great Divide kind of thing, and went down to the sand dunes. Um, it
That
like
looking at your stories, that was quite the variety of just different scenes.
it was insane. Like you're 1 minute you're in alpine type environment, and then you're in a desert. It's like
It's
what? Yeah, it's crazy. Uh, and I was actually like, I'm not usually someone to drink beer or to drink at all when I'm hiking because to me hiking is enough. I was totally drinking beers while hiking up those dunes. It was awesome. Yeah, I had them like in my bag. Like they were elevation beers. I snagged a bunch from the brewery, and so that's probably why I like it the best, right? Like that memory tied to making this record, to doing all that. So
yeah, that's
yeah,
when you when the page was posting those pictures, it was one of those scenarios. Like I've got I've got a couple friends uh, who travel kind of frequently to just amazing places like that, nature type of amazing places. And I seriously struggle to actually watch those stories because you know Florida has its beauty, but
yeah,
I'm definitely a mountain man at heart, so
yeah.
I get kind of sad when I see stuff like that.
That dude, I was full on depressed coming home. I'm like looking around. I'm like, this sucks. Like I hated saying that, but I was like, why do I live in North Texas? This like there's parts of Texas that are freaking awesome. Like not far from where I'm at right now, actually, is pretty cool. But like coming home from like the freaking Rocky Mountains to a an old basin is just not cool. Like you know.
I 2 weekends ago, or I don't even remember now. It's all I got home and started working. It all melted back together. But a weekend or
Yeah.
two ago, I went to North Carolina on the west side, right there at the start, or kind of like in the Smokies, in the
Mm.
Appalachian Trail. And it was it was wonderful. It was so amazing. And yeah, coming home, coming home, I was just like, oh, back to the oak trees, back to the sun.
And so you drove, right?
Yeah,
That's even worse because then you get to see like the beauty declines like as you go like and we're
yeah,
like you live in Florida, I live in Texas. It's hot, it's humid.
oh
The one thing we don't have that y'all have are nice beaches and clear water. We don't really have that.
yeah,
But I know what you mean like you come out of the mountains, then you're in the foothills, then you're in the hills, then you're in plains, then you're in it's like Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time we were there, it was me and my wife, and then her sister and her husband. Um, and the whole time we were there, I was like, guys, we don't have to go home. Everybody said
Yeah, that's it. You don't have
we
to.
can all get jobs.
That's so real. Like we've always been like, oh no, we got to go back. But I mean, kids make it hard, right? We know that. But I don't know. Like I'm going to Hawaii next month, and I'm like, I don't have to come home.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man, it's I don't know. Yeah, it is tough. It's especially tough once you have a family.
Yeah.
It's not like when we got married, um, we went to Chimney Rock, North Carolina.
Yeah.
This was like 8 months after we got married. Just took a vacation, um, which was kind of close to where we were, but basically same scenario. You know, you're in. It's not the Smokies, but it's mountains, just straight up, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful, and same thing. I did the same thing, man. I was like, there's a couple of alcoholic signs on some of these businesses, you know. People just
Yeah. And and honestly, I hope that one day I just do that. Like I'm like, all right, hey, we're here. I can just retire and give them notice like now and not go home.
I know. I could see us doing that, but now back then it was like, oh yeah, that'd be funny. We probably could do it honestly, but
Yeah.
we got a year contract with the apartment. But
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, well, if we move there, what are the schools like? You know, the kids gonna
I
get
know.
education. What's the neighborhood like? You know, what kinds of crimes are happening? Are they like the dangerous ones, or just don't be out past a certain time type of stuff? Like you just got to worry about so much more of the.
Oh yeah. It's all life is little ones make life a whole nother thing. In like my the city we like I live in, um, Fort Worth is like super safe. But then like someone sent me something. There's been like on the trails I usually ride my bike now, like either during lunch or after work or in the evening for exercise. And like there's been three homicides on that trail in the past like 3 months. I'm like, what the hell, guys? Like,
What's going on?
I don't know. Y'all should all just go to a brewery. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
chill out.
Get a gym membership at an MMA club or something.
There you go.
Just fight it out.
Yeah. Go to a brewery and then go do that. No,
Yeah,
don't do
the town we live in it's kind of weird because it's pretty safe, but it's one of those situations where like if you go looking for trouble, you will find it. If you're just doing your thing in life, you're just working, you know, doing what you do, you're not getting into trouble, you're gonna be fine. You're like nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, I
Although,
know.
I
So,
say that, but last night getting ready for bed, my wife's like, so just told me there were a couple of armed guys going around like robbing people's houses. Which I don't know. Our police force here, they seem to be pretty on top of things. So if
that's
there's
good.
still out there, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
I just put the shotgun next to the bed, and I was like, just in case. Here we go. Right here, ready to go.
I don't have any of my guns in my apartment, but we do have a machete. I'm like, I know where that thing is, and if I need it, I will use it.
Whatever works.
Yeah, I'm not a like. I'm definitely like anti-violence, anti anything like that. But if you screw with my family, like you're done. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, yeah. I'm not interested in fighting people. I'm the
No.
kind of guy who I'll just walk away. If you want to
Yeah.
fight, then like you go ahead and win. That's okay. I'll take the L. But dude, I'm telling you what, man. If you wake me up at 3 a.m. and I have to get out of bed because you're in my house, I don't care if you got a gun or not. You probably that's probably it.
Well, yeah, because if they're there at that time, like there's no accident, right? Like they're trying to do something.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's only smart to assume that. I literally have to assume if you were in here at that time of day, at that time of night, like
Yeah.
I gotta be smart.
Yeah. You did not park your car here. We know you know that. I gotta admit, this Yingling is good. And I have been against it. This is good.
It's a draft. I mean, draft is better, and I think I honestly believe the major reason why is because of the way it's poured.
Yeah. And I've drank it slowly, so I've let a lot of that CO2 flow out, and it's probably allowed that flavor to come through and less of the just the
Yeah, yeah, it definitely.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not aware of the science behind that, but I just know that like allowing the CO2 to release, it just wakes up the whole beer. Just gives it a little jolt. Really,
It
really good.
makes because like CO2, like anything takes up space, right? So like that's why like I don't know, I'm gonna be vulgar. Like if someone farts near you, right? Then they're taking up more airspace with their fart.
Yeah,
And so the fart particles, like the methane, right, is there and it's like taking up that's why it's so concentrated. But if you remove it, it's then more of the nitrogen, oxygen, CO2, all that stuff. I think that's probably what happens here, though, in the beer is if you take away all the CO2 spaces, then you have a more concentrated liquid in all the rest of everything. So I'm making stuff up, but that's
I mean
my science.
that
That
sounds
is,
pretty legit.
yeah. I'll write a blog about it or something, and someone will
Yeah,
be like,
yeah.
this.
Write a paper.
Yeah,
Write a paper.
it'd be so funny.
Yeah. Well, man,
Arts and
I
beer.
if you have a little more time, I had some questions that I wanted to kind of get into.
Okay, let's do it.
Sweet. And I mean, I think we've had a pretty damn good show at this point. So
Yeah.
I'm here to hang out. I'm good. So like, if you have a time frame, that's cool. If not, we'll just keep this baby rolling.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So the first thing I wanted to kind of delve into a little bit was the new album, which is
Okay.
and so
Thank
you
you.
in the show, yeah, you're welcome. So Friday was the not what was it like the album release show?
It was, and we had like a limited run of vinyls that ended up being a Texas special. They're gone now. They sold out, thank God. But but yeah, like it was this weekend was to kind of just celebrate. We had not played since the pandemic hit, so this was our not only our first show back, um, our weekend back, and then the new record. So it was like all planned out perfectly, kind of thing. So yeah.
So like when was the new album done? How long have you guys been waiting for it to be released?
That's a good question. I think the album, the mix and master was done maybe back in April. So we've been sitting, yeah, we've been sitting on it for a little while. But a lot of that is because we did vinyls, takes a lot longer now to get vinyls done, um, and just get everything rolling. So yeah,
Do they kind of want to wait on that to be ready?
yeah, right, exactly. Like that way you can do pre-orders and then when it releases, which our story is very complicated because apparently our vinyls got like pretty much just thrown off a plane. So that's where the Texas variant came in. Like we had another color variety that actually made it here, and so we were able to sell those. But we actually had to send out messages to everyone that's pre-ordered so far, saying like, "Hey, sorry, uh, the finals that were supposed to be here, on the 17th to ship out are not here, but they will be shortly. So that like it's coming quick. It's just FedEx sucks. Don't use FedEx. Just don't do it."
Remember that.
Yeah, yeah, it was not good.
Did you guys? This is something that I wish I could ask all of my favorite bands that I follow. So COVID-19 happens in March last year. It becomes a thing. People like you guys all of a sudden are forced to have this break, and I just wonder, like, were you already thinking about a new album, writing it, or were you kind of sitting around saying, "What do we do now?" And next thing you know,
Um,
you're just writing instead of
yeah, that's a good question. We knew, I mean, if we're not thinking about writing a new album, then we are basically saying the band is done. And we have never got there. So we're always thinking about the next one, but we hadn't landed the idea yet. I feel like the first song that was written for this one was Cathedral Dreams. And so I wrote it, I didn't, we wrote it, but I came up with the melody for that um, almost a year before. And so it was like, okay, like this is here, and we are actually pretty bad about this. We'll sit on stuff for a while, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it just takes its time, right? But then we released Nightfall in 2020, like during the pandemic, and then we before everyone knew we were in talks with post recordings about signing and all that stuff. We couldn't we were basically signed for a long time, but we couldn't tell anybody because you don't want to come out and be like, "Hey, we're signed," and then take a year to do something. You want to like keep it rolling. So a lot of like why it took so long was unfortunately marketing, like just being timely, right? Um, and we were waiting on vinyls, so we uh we wish we would have had a little more time to write on this record. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Um, but I wish it was a little longer. That's like all the criticism I've heard from the album is it's great. It's a little short, and it is a little short. Um, we had some other songs, but they just didn't feel right, and we liked the 6 song approach. So yeah,
like it.
yeah,
I mean, that's not always a bad thing though, because sometimes it's easier to savor something that's a little more short and sweet versus 12 songs, 14 songs.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, I can say another genre I really love is death metal. It especially applies there. Like, if a death metal band puts out a 5 song album, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Certain songs, you're just getting by
Yeah,
song seven. You're just like,
you're right.
it's,
It can be taxing, right? Like,
it's just building up more.
yeah, yeah, and like, I guess death metal and post rock could be similar in that like they can be long songs, and like for us like we only want a long song or a long record if it makes sense. Um, like we would never write a long song just to say, "Oh, we finally wrote our long post rock song."
We got our
Like,
10 minute song.
yeah, like I have no interest in that unless the song needs it.
Yeah.
Um, I will say we have started writing a new record, and one of the songs is 9.5 minutes, and we're like, okay, we gotta cut this down somewhere. So there'll be a lot of that, you know.
Just trim some fat off it.
Yeah, I mean it is very soundtracky but heavy and fun. I don't know.
Yeah, one thing that when there's like a 12, it seems like 12 songs. Once you get to 12, and especially anything beyond, if I'm trying to sit down and listen to the whole thing, it, by like song 7, I start to think about other stuff. Like it kind of loses my attention just because of the time of it. So
Yeah, and unless you're listening to like MXPX where your songs are like 2 minutes, then like because I remember I had an MXPX record. It had 32 songs on it. Like what the heck, guys? Why did you put out a 32 song album? But I listened to the whole thing because they're like a minute, like or whatever. But I get what you're saying. Like maybe seven is like the perfect number of songs. Like
yeah, I feel like 7 or 8. If you just wanna, yeah, if you wanna, I feel like I get the full effect when it's not more than 10 songs.
yeah,
If not more than 10, I'm in it the whole time
yeah,
as a listener.
and I like replayability of a record. Like that's one thing I do think is good about this record is you could listen to it and then you could go right back and listen to it again uh, because of the length. I mean, it's half an hour or a little bit more, but
Yeah, I did that. I listened to it on the way to work um, because that's about how long my commute is. It's a whole
yeah,
hour, and that was like just to, all right, here it is. Let's hear it. And then I listened to it again on the way home from work, and it was like that's when I really digested it. That's when I was like,
yeah.
that's
Thanks for listening. By the way, definitely appreciate listening to it.
yeah. Yeah, it's a good one, and something I'll just say, not to flatter the boys, but something I'll say that I find really unique about Dragon Slayer Motion versus a lot of the other post rock shoegaze bands out there is even though like you guys have your slower moments and then your bigger, more epic moments, but each pretty much all the songs and especially um, the both albums, they have this like even key feel as you go along
Yeah,
that is pretty sweet. I mean, I'm I write songs and I'm really a musician by hobby, so I kind of know a few things, but I would imagine that is like a display of technicality. I kind of feel that you guys get into a little more of the techniques of what you're doing. Because I don't really
yeah,
know if you can pull that off. Where it's just so smooth. It's like
yeah.
the feel, the emotional feel, and the sound is just buttery smooth the whole time. I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, first off, thank you, and I will definitely tell the dudes. I'm gonna tell them to watch this. Like, I'll be like, y'all should drink beer and watch this thing. But but yeah, we do put a lot of thought into the dynamics of the songs and record. Because we're not like, other than the drummer, like Dustin's very technical, very, very technical drummer, and he doesn't play like crazy stuff, so no one knows that. But the rest of us, like, none of us are really classically trained or anything. We couldn't be like, oh yeah, we wrote in this mode in this part. It's a feeling. And so we're really drawn to music that we would write that makes us feel something. And I that's kind of a rule for me. If I don't get chills from music, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Or it's not that I don't like it. I will not obsess over it. And to me, music is a sacred thing. And once you have that connection with some artist's music, like Thrice, they always do it to me. I don't know. Even the new record, I didn't like it at first, but and I jammed it on the way to San Antonio, and I was like, holy crap, they did it again.
yeah,
And that's like when we write. You talk about the even keel. I blame it on like other things that give us chills, and that's like storytelling. So really, all of our stuff is a story, and it doesn't. It's not explicit, and it's it's unnamed. Um, we put out a certain motif, but it's not anything we would ever really describe. It's just we want it to feel like that. So like Ardo is totally Middle Earth. Like there's no
oh
there's
yeah,
that one was pretty explained, but it I mean it was the traditional epic journey of somebody. This time it was the reason we called it Adrift Abyss was probably someone had already been on something like that and things were going awry again in their life and they're trapped in two worlds. And that's like two like planes of thought of like where do I go? I'm trapped here, and it could be like you can even say that as like an alien race came in and they're invading and they abducted me or whatever, or it's just you're at a pivotal moment in your life and you're like could be a relationship or marriage or kids or it's relate. We wanted it to be relatable, so that was a lot, but that you know,
dude, yeah, that's
yeah,
packed, but I like that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for. That's great.
yeah. But like as far as technical music stuff, I mean, yeah, we try to do original things. We really don't obsess about like, does it need to be an F sharp minor? We don't give a shit. Like to be honest, we just
Yeah, that's pretty great.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm in this weird scenario where I learned how to play guitar with church worship songs.
yeah,
For the most part, that was my training. So, I have no idea what I'm doing.
yeah.
Nowadays, when I write songs, I don't know, I just play and there's something there, so I follow it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just kind of that same boat where, like, it's a different boat than you guys because you guys are probably much more knowledgeable than me, but I just kind of mess around. I find this chord is good. I don't know what it is, but that sounds pretty good. Let's hit this one over here. And next thing you know, I've got a song somehow. So,
That's how I write. That's exactly how I write.
yeah, yeah, but then it's like, dude, if I don't practice this song 3 times a year, I'm gonna forget. That's it. It's never.
Yeah,
That's where I
no,
really.
it was just there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I
that's
actually liked
amazing.
your stuff. Like you did some chill music. I remember watching that and I was like, this is really good. Like I hope did you record it ever?
I have, yeah, on the two songs that are pretty like shoegazy, they are on Bandcamp.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Eight, but they're there.
Cool. I had no idea because I remember, I don't know if it was a video you posted or if it was the show night. I can't remember.
Probably both.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it, and it was, I like minimal guitar stuff. Like
That's
I have I have my dumb little side project that is inexistent, but it is there. Like I have a page that I have put up some stuff. I almost I did deactivate it this weekend, and then I brought it back, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. But
dude, just keep it going, man. Just
yeah,
on inspiration. That's
yeah, it's kind of just a writing blog. Like to be honest, it's a place for me to dump my ideas. Um, but I love minimal guitar. Like a lot of because of the talent in the post rock like world, there's a lot of like epicness, right? Like everyone writes epic freaking music and it's all great. Uh, yeah, but I want to like if I were to do my own thing, it would probably would just be one guitar and nothing else. Like I love that. I think it sounds great. I think it's intimate. Um, I don't know. I think that's why I attached to what you put out because that's what it was. It was just one guitar and it sounded awesome.
yeah. Thanks, man. I mean, that's super cool to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can either in the next month or two, or just like sometime next year, take some guitar lessons for a few months and just kind of fill in these gaps.
Yeah.
My knowledge is just at this point pretty fragmented, and I feel like if I can just fill in some of these gaps and just at least get theory 101, I think I could take off
Yeah.
better pace with the music. Because I've come
Yeah.
to where like I've written everything that I can write. You know, if I write anything else, it's kind of going to be more of the exact same. You know, like I don't mind if it's more of the same. I just don't like it to be more of the exact same. And when I play at this point, I'm feeling that I'm at the peak, so I need to raise it down.
Yeah. I definitely know what you mean. I am very guilty of writing in the same key a lot. Uh, but it's not bad. I mean, that's what capos are for, I guess.
Yeah, in
So,
different means.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have two different tunings I play, and just that helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
But still, it's time to go back to school, if you will.
Yeah. I know. Me too, man.
So I had another thing here, and so this could be uh, however long you want to take here. I was interested in knowing how DSM came to be. How did this happen?
The name?
No, just the band. Like,
Oh,
how'd you guys come together and start writing this great music?
um, okay. So we have the bass player and I have known each other since sixth grade. Then we met our drummer in ninth grade, I think, maybe 10th grade. I met, or I knew about Jason, um, one of our guitarists, probably in junior high. And then our other guitarist I'd known since high school. So we all knew each other somehow. Um, and then we played in other bands for a while. Like, and that was like, you had your post-hardcore, emo, or punk bands that were terrible, like completely terrible music. Um,
It was
not the
good.
style's terrible, but we were terrible. And so that's just what it was. And but there was one band that happened a little bit later, and we wrote. It was Jason and I mainly writing it, and we wrote this part that sounded like. And I never listened to these other bands, but it was like explosions in the sky and Russian circles had a baby. And I didn't even know what post rock was, but it just happened. I was like, man, we could just do that. And then like life happened. Probably 10 years goes by, and I was like, we all had kind of dabbled in ambient stuff a little bit. And finally, I was like talking to the drummer. I was like, I really want to do this. Like, at least let's record some songs. And just made the calls of all the everyone that's in this band now. I was like, hey, would y'all want to just like record an EP, which was the first EP we did. I was like, we don't have to play any shows or be serious, but let's just do it. And then like, of course, me, I'm like, well, that was really good. Maybe we should do one show. So we did one show. And then I'm like, well, then we could do another one and another one. And then we could write a record. And then we could, and it just happened like that. So that's the story. But yeah.
That's awesome. It seems like 90% of success stories out there are that story. It just kind of came together and you did it, and now.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just, we all finally had the time, I think. Yeah. So, dude, the beer is getting to me and I have to pee really bad. I don't know if that's like a cutoff time or what, but
I don't know. I mean, there's two routes we can go here because I'm feeling it too.
yeah.
Number one, we can call it. Route number two, we could just do a little break and reconvene. But that's totally up to you, man. If you got the time, if you feel like it, I'm all right.
But that sounds super fun. That sounds really fun. What I'll do is I'll go see if the bar's still open downstairs to get a beer. If it is, I'm down. So let's take like a 15 and I'll message you and we'll go from there. All right.
All right.
All right,
So everybody for tuning in. Thanks
man.
for being here, Bryan. This was great. And if we have a little part two, that'd be awesome. If not, have to get together again. And look, that the idea you have would be pretty fun.
yeah.
Get some other guys. Try the beers we used to enjoy. See.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, man.
Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
All right, everybody. I thank you very much for watching. We had a great audience tonight. We'll see about a part two or not. It's getting pretty late for both of us. So, I mean, if we reconvene in a few minutes, that's cool. If not, I'm kind of getting ready for bed anyways. It's getting a little late, like I said. So, thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And, hopefully we can do this again with some other driving slow motion bros as well. And have a great show. Love you all. Appreciate you. See you probably next week.